So you want like the full story?
Yeah, I want it all. Like start from the very beginning.
Up at Silver Star with Craig Perry. Awesome, having the best day. Silver Star is amazing. Like the mountain is just dialed. 4 or 5 runs in, he's like, let's just do this black diamond. I was like, as long as there's no like bridges that I have to drop or there's gaps
Yeah.
that I have to make. So he's like, this is a black diamond, but it's a tabletop. So every jump is just smooth table down.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So he's like, just don't go all the way, just land on the top. And I'm just like going, I'm cruising, I'm getting better and better and going further and further on the things. And we crossed the halfway mark and we dropped in and they look, they're good, man. And I just landed on one, landed further on the next one. And I was like, I'm going for this one because it looked kind of small. And I went up and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna make it. So I
No, no way.
basically just came up, back tire hit the back of the thing and just wham. I just slammed into the bottom. My hand went out, so my shoulder's a little bit bung. My helmet hit the ground, visor popped off. I blew blood vessels in my face, and I had ear blood dripping out of my ear. And but luckily it was just the helmet scratched me.
Okay, okay.
I basically landed like this, helmet hit, handlebars hit me in the gut.
Like just dug you in the gut.
Yeah, and my other handlebar hit me in the thumb. My thumb's kind of all like mangled. So, anyways, I'm out cold.
You knocked yourself out.
Greg's behind me. He's like 5 to 10 seconds behind me. He comes, hits the thing, and he's like gonna land on me. He has to like jump to the side. He's like, what the hell? He's like, dude, I thought you were dead. I was like lying in a pile. Then he stops the next guy because it comes like the boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom.
happening
Every
pretty
5 seconds,
quick.
there's somebody coming. And I'm like in the bottom of this transition. So he's like, stop. The guy skids. He stops the traffic. Greg throws his bike over into the bush, and then I pop up. And he's like, whoa, 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 dude, are you okay? So I'm just like, get my helmet off, get my helmet off. So he got my helmet off, and he's like, dude, take a knee. And I was just like, whoa, I remember everything.
Yeah.
I can see the dirt
Total adrenaline just
pop.
going
I just
100%.
popped up. I'm like testing. I'm like, dude. He's like, look at me. He's like testing me. He's like doing all this stuff. He's the teacher. He knows what he's doing. And I'm just like, he's like, I think you're okay. I'm like, dude, I'm definitely a little bit concussed because I was like
Yeah.
seeing a few tracers and I was like, that was a big crash. Like, but like,
Yeah, you're
I'm like, I
you're
think my
not
ribs are broken. He's like, put your hand up. And I was like, oh, and he's like, no, you'd be screaming if they were broken. I was like, I could go.
good
So he's
point.
like, just take a knee, bro. And I was just like, I was just breathing. And I was like, I think I'm okay, dude. And he's like, holy shit. I was like, whew, that was sketchy, bro.
What did you feel? Like obviously like you took a big slam, so you knew your body was like it was hurting, but like did you feel anything in your stomach? Like
No, I
no.
kind of feel like I had the wind knocked out of me. I
Okay.
kind of feel like, oh, my shoulder's going to be bruised.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Yeah.
thumb's going to be
Like
bruised.
super sore body from crashing hard.
My ribs are going to be bruised. I'm like, I didn't break anything. I'm like, I'll be fine. So I rode up and then I just cruised all the way down the grandfather trail, one hand in it, like whew, all the way to the truck, got to the truck. I took my gear off, like, oh, my shoulder's starting to get sore. I'm getting a little shaky. I'm like, get all my gear off. I get my bike on the ground. I get everything into the truck and Greg rolls up. And then I just kind of like, whew,
You're
just,
probably adrenaline's wearing off now.
I started to get a little shaky. I started to be like a little woozy and I was just like, took a knee. When Greg rolled around, I was like on one knee with all the gear was away. He's like, dude, you okay? And I'm like, I don't feel great. I kind of feel like my stomach is hurting. I don't want to say internal bleeding, but like, I think we should go to the first aid tent, the first aid guys, and just get like my vitals.
Check. Yeah, get a check.
And he's like, 100%, let's do it. So he loads up the gear. We drive down the right to it just so we're closer. And I go in and they lie me down, do my test, blood, all that stuff. And he's like, yeah, you're okay. He's like, nothing's broken. He's like, your blood pressure's fine. He's like, well, yeah, you're looking a little pale. And then his boss comes in and is like, man, this happens all the time. I think you need to go to the hospital because we can't tell you what's going on inside. But I have a feeling if that's where your handlebar hit, happens all the time, dude. I don't think we want to mess around. I was like, okay. Then I barfed. I was like, oh God, this is not going to go
Yeah,
anywhere.
that's probably concussion, right?
Ambulance comes, switch me. They give me some nausea medicine. They hook me up to IV. I got a bag. I'm in the ambulance and it's like, they're like full sirens. And I was like, whoa, like I'm still think I'm fine. And I'm like, whoa. She's like, well, we got to get you there like ASAP. There's could be some internal bleeding. Like it's go time. I was like, okay. And they're like, we're going to take you to Vernon. I'm not sure you'll make it to Kelowna. I'm like, what do you mean not make it? Like, I'm going to run out of gas? So she's like, no, dude, like, this is serious. I was like, oh, I wasn't even scared yet. It wasn't nothing. So then we get in there, full ER, man, like lights, cameras, action, like it's on. COVID test, up my nose, catheter, right up the dry, brutal. And then I CT scan. So I'm like, I have to hold my shoulders so bummed. They're like, stay still. I'm like, I was like, not crying. I was like, it was just there was people everywhere.
Yeah,
It was
panic.
sketchy. And they're like, give him 2 liters of blood right now, blood. And they're like, I'm like, what? They're like, are you okay to take blood? And I was like, yeah, sure, I don't care. So they gave me 2 whole bags of blood.
Yeah, which is quite a bit.
Because after the CT scan, it was just blood. So
They knew that. They knew you were bleeding.
Your spleen's mangled, looks like a mashed potato. We got to get it out ASAP. Katie gets a call. It's like 9:30 now. She's like, we're going to an emergency surgery. His spleen is mangled. She's like, what? Like she thought I was just going like,
Yeah.
she wasn't expecting that. So poor Katie was all of a sudden like, boom, no visitors allowed. Still no visitors. Then I go in, I get the mask. I'm out cold. So I wake up. I don't even know what time it is now. I wake up in the room with an NG tube up. So it goes up and down into your throat, 60 inches of pipe that is in your throat. Like, and you swallow the pipe, but it doesn't go anywhere.
Oh.
So that was almost the worst part. I wake up, I'm like, what the hell? And they're like, here's your morphine button. The surgeon came in. He's like, dude, everything looks great. Your spleen was mangled. We took it out. Everything else looks good. He's like, thank goodness we gave you that blood, because if we didn't, you wouldn't have made it. There was like tons of blood in there. So if we didn't give you that blood, you would have died. I was like, what? Whoa. I was like, Jesus, okay, thank you, doc. I'm like, thank you so much. I kind of felt okay. Obviously, I'm like drugged up. And they're like, I'm like, can I have some water? They're like, no. I'm like, what can I have? They're like, here's a little sponge with water to wet your lips. I was like, that's it? They're like, we need to let you settle. We have IV. Don't worry, you're getting all your nutrition. Here's your morphine button. I'm just like, morphine. Right. I'm out. Because I'm in a room of 4 people. The one guy has penis cancer. So he just came in from surgery. He's like, don't worry, your penis won't be black forever. It should heal. And I was just like, oh my God. And then the other guy came in. He was getting like gastral, intestine, bowel surgery. And they're like, don't worry, you'll be able to poop in like 2 months. So we'll have to wear this bag. And I was just like, oh God, thank you. I'm like, I'm so lucky. I've just got my spleen out. So they're like, hey, everything's good. So they're like, pulled out the catheter, pulled out the NG tube, like you have to like barf it up your nose. It was horrible. Anyways, it's out. I'm just like, hallelujah. I'm like popsicles, water, ice. They're like, just take it easy. And then dinner came and I got Jello. So I ate Jello. And then bright green Jello came out into this tube sack that I had carrying, and bright green. And I was like, hey nurse, is this normal? And she was just like, I'll be right back. And she ran away. Like didn't even say anything, and she ran. I was like, oh God, this sucks.
No.
Doctor came and he's like, we need to get you a CT scan. CT scan again. Oh, my shoulder. And I get back up and the surgeon's like, there's a hole in your stomach. I'm like, well, how does that happen? He's like, probably from being nicked during surgery. It was a bloodbath in there, and the spleen gets cut off of your stomach, basically. He's like, yeah, we need to get you into surgery right now. So then they're like, we got to put this NG tube back in. So they put the tube and they're just like, get it down. They're like, swallow. And I'm like, oh. Don't need to get into too details, but
that's enough.
It's as horrible as it sounds.
Yeah.
Worst thing I've ever had to do in my life. Yeah. So they roll me down to surgery. I'm like sitting there waiting, mask, boom, out. Wake up in my room again. Same thing, morphine, all that stuff. Katie's there this time. Now I'm not allowed to have anything, food for 5 days. So the stomach has to heal. And they basically just stitch it and basically like vinyl patch like a rubber dinghy.
Nice. Yeah.
And it's like skin, he says. It like totally heals over. It takes a week to 10 days. Your stomach's gonna be really small, so just go slow when you stretch it back out.
Sorry. That's
So
why
anyways, I'm just lying there,
that's why probably why you're down. What? How many pounds have you lost?
18 pounds.
How much do you weigh now?
160 this morning.
I'm 60. Wow.
So it's fine. But anyways, so that was horrible
4 days.
4 days. I'm feeling better, obviously. IVs and stuff. And then they're like, okay, you're good to go. I was like, sweet. So that was 4 days or whatever. Katie comes. They give me all my vaccines, 3 vaccines. They give me like all this liquid diet stuff. They like rip my bandages off. They rip the tube out. They're just like, okay, you're good. And I was just like, let's get out of here. But I was like, oh God, I don't know if I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
We get in the car, we get back to the lake, and I was like, just fine, eating soup. And I was just like, all of a sudden, like the rush of like everything
that happened.
Like,
yeah.
I was being
You're
like,
out of the hospital.
Yeah, I was just being so tough in there. I was just like, I got this. I'm going to recover, positive thinking. And then when I got back to the lake, I was like watching Jerry Maguire and I was just like bawling. Like I was really scared. It was really scary. And then just thinking about not dying and like not being there for the kids and like all that stuff, dad and you and kid. It's just like brutal.
Yeah.
Get home, see the kids, everything's great. So we're like, sweet, I made it. And I woke up in the morning and was just like, oh, so much pain, like my kidneys and my like liver and like,
yeah, just all your guts.
And that was fevering. So I was like, it's okay. I probably had fever just because I was like driving and like it was a lot of work. So like trying to fight that fever all day.
Tell me a couple more shots that you just got or whatever, right?
I said vaccines like yesterday, 3 of them. So I'm like, it's probably fine. I'll just take some things. I'll cool myself down. I had like ice packs and I was just keeping it cool. And then by that night, I was just like, I'm not winning this fever. Like, I should probably just go. There's a lot of stuff going on in here.
Yeah, you don't want to mess around.
I should probably just go to the ER and just check in. So I go to the ER. They're like, you need to get a sonogram. We need to put a tube in you to start sucking out the pus and bacteria and leftover gunk from the surgeries out of the hole that used to be the spleen. I was like, okay. And they're like, it's Saturday. You might be able to get in by Tuesday. I was like, so what do I do now till Tuesday? They're like, well, you just got to hang out here. We got to monitor you. Jesus Christ. So another doctor came in. He's like, oh, looks like we're going to get you in today. I was like, oh, what? That's awesome. Okay. How? They're like, I don't know. You got a buddy. I was like, I got a buddy. I'm like, sweet. I roll down there to the radiologist where they're going to sinogram and put a tube in me to suck all that stuff out. And Mike Widmer works there.
Oh, nice.
Mike Widmer saw my name on the sheet and was like, Monday, Tuesday. He's like, screw that. We're doing my buddy Jord today. The guys were like, yeah, all right. He threw me in, got me in, tubed me, sucked. Awesome. Go upstairs. And then I'm just chilling in the Royal Columbian for another 4 nights. Wow. Same thing. Old people pulling out their tubes, just like having hip surgeries, moaning and groaning and pooping and just horrible. Get out. And now I'm just chilling. I'm supposed to not be able to do anything. My abs are sliced. Got like, that's healing up pretty nice.
Yeah. That's pretty quick for being that quick. Like,
yeah, that's only like, it's 2 weeks now, I guess, since that came out. And then I just have this like tube. I don't need to show you. Oh yeah, that's just nasty. So that has to stay in for another 2 weeks.
Ew.
So I have to and I have to measure it, and I have to drain it, and I have to just like that. So I'm just working a little bit, still get a little bit fuzzy on the computer. Like if I go for too long,
yeah,
I've definitely got a bit of a concussion.
Yeah.
So like now I feel good. Like I'm like, feel fine. I'm like, feel skinny and gross, but like, I just need to chill. Just like talking to all my biker buddies too. They're just like, so many people know somebody who's paralyzed or dead.
Yeah. There's so many. Every person that I talk to is like, oh man, you should have heard something. Like there's so many stories of people hurting themselves and like,
not making
you're pretty lucky to walk away. And as shitty as it is to lose a spleen, like, well, you're gonna be okay, right?
I'm alive. Like another thing my biker buddies are all saying is like there's 2 types of bikers: those who have crashed and those who are gonna crash.
Yeah,
that's it. So like mountain biking is pretty gnarly, and like Yeah, I'm not gonna not do it, but I just gonna have to not
Yeah,
play.
it's just not at the upper level, just to
I don't need
just
to do
don't.
black diamonds, maybe.
No.
That's it, man. That's pretty much the story. Is pretty gnarly, and like I'm just happy to be alive and just
Well, we're
chilling. Thank you
we're
for
happy you
letting
didn't
me.
die. We're happy you didn't die. That was crazy getting a text like that and like not very much information.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know. I was the receiving end of dad's call. So I was like getting another, I'm sure Katie felt like shit getting that call. I hate that.
about
I'm
it.
glad you're alive. I'm glad you're alive. Don't fuck around.
No, taking it easy, man. And yeah, thanks for backing me up on all that stuff.
Yeah.
And luckily, I was like in decent shape and like fairly healthy. The doctor's like, dude, if you were not, you would have been dead. Like
Yeah.
100%, you would have been. Okay. Love you, man.
See you later. Peace
Okay.
out. Love you too.
Bye.